yesterday, the big win over Napoli. Erling Haaland was the big story in this one. 50 Champions League goals in just 49 games.
Yeah, it's a really impressive performance, isn't it, Claudia? I think the biggest surprise for me was in the game midweek that Pep Guardiola named an unchanged team from the weekend. He hardly ever does this. So perhaps the biggest question coming out of that terrific victory over Napoli is, will he play the same team 3 times in 1 week? Will he start the same 11? But look, Erling Haaland right now, he's looking more like his old self. Now, is that because he's getting better service or because he's just in a good vein of form right now? Might be a little bit of both. But I thought they were impressive. I thought they looked a bit more like their old selves, but it wasn't just Erling Haaland as the headline, if you like, because you can't overlook the input of Doku as well, and also Phil Foden, because they really missed him last season. In fact, when he was drawn on it after the game, Pep Guardiola said maybe 2 seasons ago, when Phil Foden won everything possible as a player, he said perhaps he was the player who won us that league. So I think it's all coming together quite nicely for City right now, but they need it to. This is their worst start for 15 seasons, so they've got to get going, and this is a big challenge for them at the Emirates on Sunday.
PSG was a bit iffy during the regular season for him, but he knew how to turn it on in Champions League competition. So what did you make of his performance with Manchester City against Napoli?
You are one tough school mistress, aren't you? A bit iffy. I saw him turning about half a dozen man of the match performances. I mean, against Arsenal, at one point, I thought he was going to leap up and catch the floodlight. He was that good. So you are. Look, we know that he's not the best with his feet, but he plays to his strengths. And I think right now he's come in and he's taken the position there away from James Trafford. So he hasn't got the shirt, he's got the gloves, hasn't he? If we're going to be completely accurate. He's a very, very good goalkeeper, and this could be a very, very good fit as well. He certainly made a stupendous save in the Manchester derby early on in the game, and that would have done his confidence, the power of good. And it was put to him as well about his distribution. And he said, Pep will teach me what I need to learn. So I think there's an adaptation period here for the whole of the defence, for Donnarumma. And there's no reason why it can't work, because personally, I think you have to look at the basics. His job is to keep the ball out of the net. If he's really good at distributing, that is a secondary thing. If he stops them going in that way and can help them score that way, of course he's a great signing. But if he's great going that way but not so good with the ball going in the net, he's not a top keeper, is he? So perhaps I think this is possibly getting slightly overanalyzed, but at the same time, Pep has history, as we know, of wanting keepers who can play out from the back. But maybe we're seeing here as well a kind of a change in an evolving of the way that City will play, particularly at the back.
Well, Arsenal and Manchester City going head-to-head this weekend. Both clubs have finished top 3 in the Premier League in the last 3 seasons, and Arsenal has the historical edge with 100 wins, 48 draws, and 65 losses, and Arsenal are currently on a 5-match unbeaten streak. And the last time that these 2 teams met, February 2nd of this year, Manchester City lost 5-1. So we have an exciting matchup for this weekend. So let's bring in our CBS Sports EPL correspondent, Jeff Shreves, into the conversation. Good.
Well, I'm going to be fascinated to see the matchup between Zubimendi and Rodri. But how much will they actually come near to each other? Because if they are both players who, if you like, they play the traditional holding role, they're not going to come into too much contact. But both have got so much ability, they can get forward. And these two are rightly billed as the best 2 in the world in that position. Now, they'll know, of course, each other. They'll know their game inside out. They know each other's game. But that is going to be a fascinating battle, if you like. Rodri only just back from injury. Zubimendi has started really, really well. I saw him against Forest the other day, and he was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Both fullbacks, I mentioned Doku earlier. We can't overlook Madueke and the torrid time that wingers are giving fullbacks right now. So that is a good matchup too. and then it's who takes the chances. You've got contrasting styles in Gyökeres and Haaland. Haaland has more touches in the box, but Gyökeres tends to press more from outside, so he gets an awful lot of work. This is a really, really good game, and also if you look at it as well, Arsenal have for years. I mean, they won the last 2 at the Emirates against Manchester City, and they lost the previous 6. They're unbeaten in the last 4 against Manchester City, and now Pep Guardiola has never ever gone 5 games in the top division without beating an individual opponent. So this would be, if he doesn't beat them on Sunday, this is new territory for him. And that really would confirm that Arsenal, if you like, they're over their inferiority to Manchester City in recent years. Yeah, because look, the bigger the opponent, if you score a goal, if you're a striker, then obviously it means more. But I mean, look at the blistering start he's made. He's had 3 shots on target and scored 3 goals. Now, early on, I do think he laboured a little bit in his first couple of the games, but, I don't think he was fully fit. He hadn't had a proper pre-season. He's getting to know his teammates. He's getting to know the league as well. So Erling Haaland is way ahead of him for that. Of course he is, but it wouldn't be a surprise, right now, if Gyökeres can get a significant goal or the winner against Manchester City, that will only help his induction into Arsenal and this season as well. It will prove what they've bought is what they needed. We all know about the danger that Erling Haaland poses. And again, look, JD, we're talking now about Arsenal going into this game on Sunday, no Saka, no Saliba. And it's not remotely being talked about as a problem anywhere. Mosquera, I honestly, I've never ever seen somebody so young come into a team and be so accomplished. I mean, they must call him Snowy because he's settled so quickly. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, it's outrageous how quickly he has settled. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. He looks so composed. He looks so mature, so confident on the ball. Honestly, it's staggering when you see it in the flesh. Now, big test for him and Gabriel to handle Haaland. Gabriel will try and do the majority of the work himself. But
Manchester City could be heading into their first major match of the Enzo Maresca era with a selection problem, because 6 first-team stars may not be ready to face Arsenal in the Community Shield. The match is scheduled for August 16th at the Principality Stadium, but City's preparations have been squeezed by the World Cup. While most of the squad are beginning pre-season, several of Maresca's stars have only just finished, or are still finishing, a long tournament. And the 6 players at the centre of the concern are huge: Erling Haaland, Rodri, Mark Guehi, Elliot Anderson, Nico O'Reilly and James Trafford. Let's be clear, none of them has been officially ruled out, but the calendar creates a problem. FIFPro's medical guidance says players should receive at least 4 weeks away from club and international duties between seasons. If City give their World Cup players that full recovery period, they would return close to the Arsenal game with little or no pre-season training. That is where the situation becomes a nightmare for Maresca. Haaland gives City their most devastating threat in the penalty area. Without him, Maresca loses the striker who forces defenders to drop deeper and changes the entire shape of a match. Rodri is just as important in a different way. He controls the tempo, protects the defence, and helps City play through pressure. Starting a new tactical era without both Haaland and Rodri would be a huge challenge. Then there are City's England players. Mark Guehi and Elliot Anderson were involved as England secured the bronze medal, while James Trafford and Nico O'Reilly were also part of the squad. Guehi could be vital to Maresca's new defence. Anderson brings energy and ball-carrying ability. In midfield, O'Reilly offers versatility, and Trafford gives City another option in goal. City's pre-season schedule makes the problem even more complicated. They are due to face Inter on August 1st, a K-League All-Stars side on August 5th, and Atletico Madrid on August 9th. Those matches should be the perfect opportunity for Maresca to install his ideas. But if the 6 World Cup players are still resting, they could miss almost the entire tour and have only days to prepare for Arsenal. For Arsenal, this could be a massive early boost. Mikel Arteta's side know exactly how dangerous a fully prepared Manchester City can be. But a City team without its main striker, its midfield controller, and several important new season options would look very different. It could also force Maresca into major decisions. Does he rush the stars back and risk fatigue or injury? Does he trust academy players and fringe members of the squad in a showpiece match? Or does he change the system completely and accept that City may not be at full strength? There is another layer to this story. The Community Shield may be treated as a curtain raiser, but Arsenal against Manchester City is never a friendly. It is a chance to make an early statement, build confidence, and land the first psychological blow before the Premier League campaign begins. For Maresca, it is also his first opportunity to show what his Manchester City will look like after Pep Guardiola's departure. Supporters will expect familiar control and ambition, but the new manager may have to deliver it without some of the players best equipped to make that football work. So, are 6 City stars definitely out? No, not yet. Some could return earlier and others may be fit enough to feature from the bench. But the risk is real and City's medical staff will have to balance one match against the demands of an entire season. If Haaland and Rodri are missing, Arsenal will believe they have a golden opportunity. If all 6 are unavailable, Maresca's first major test could become far more difficult than anyone expected. City in crisis, or simply sensible player management? Tell us your predicted score in the comments and subscribe for the latest Manchester City and Premier League news.